The rain poured outside the small roadside diner, the kind of place people only stopped at when they had nowhere else to go. Inside, the neon lights flickered softly, casting reflections on the glass counter. Among the clinking cups and the hum of an old jukebox, stood Sophie, a young waitress with tired eyes but a kind smile that never seemed to fade even when life gave her every reason to. She'd been working double shifts for weeks. Rent was due, her mother's medical bills were piling up, and she'd barely had enough to eat. Yet every morning, Sophie tied her hair back, put on her faded apron, and told herself, just one more day. You can make it. It was a quiet afternoon when the door opened, and a man entered, drenched, exhausted, and pushing a wheelchair. In the chair sat a little girl, no older than 8, wearing a pink jacket and clutching a small stuffed rabbit. Her legs were thin and motionless, her face pale. The man's eyes were heavy with worry. Sophie hurried to greet them with her usual warmth. Welcome. Table for 2? The man nodded quietly, guiding the wheelchair to a corner booth. He seemed distracted, scrolling through his phone, answering business calls even while the little girl looked at the menu with confusion. Sophie noticed it immediately, the way the girl stared at the pictures of pancakes but said nothing. Her father seemed too busy to notice. Sophie knelt down beside the girl. Hey, sweetheart, she said softly. Would you like me to help you pick something? The girl looked up shyly. Can I have pancakes? With strawberries? Coming right up, Sophie smiled. But then she saw the man shake his head. Just a coffee for me, he said coldly. And a small soup for her. Sophie paused. The girl's face fell instantly. It wasn't her place to interfere, she was just a waitress. But something in that child's eyes broke her heart. When the order came out, Sophie hesitated. Then she made a decision. She walked to the kitchen, quietly told the cook, make the pancakes. Add extra strawberries, my treat. When Sophie brought the plate to the girl, her eyes widened in pure joy. You got me pancakes, she whispered. Sophie winked. Don't tell anyone. The man looked up, surprised. I didn't order that. Sophie met his gaze calmly. She looked like she needed it. He didn't argue, maybe too tired, maybe too proud. He just sighed and returned to his phone. But as the girl began to eat, Sophie noticed her hands trembling, struggling to hold the fork. Without a word, Sophie sat beside her and gently helped her take a bite. The girl giggled, a small, delicate sound that seemed to melt away the grayness in the room. For the first time, the man looked up from his phone and watched. Something changed in his expression. After a few moments, he spoke softly, almost to himself. No one's ever done that before. Sophie looked up. Done what? Fed her, he said quietly. Not since her mother died. There was silence for a moment, heavy and raw. Sophie's heart ached. I'm sorry, she said gently. She's a beautiful little girl. He nodded, eyes distant. Her name's Lily. I've been trying to give her everything money can buy. But maybe I forgot what she really needs. As the evening went on, Lily and Sophie talked and laughed together. They drew smiley faces on napkins, shared stories, and Sophie even taught her how to balance a spoon on her nose. For those few moments, the billionaire father sat quietly, watching his daughter really smile, for the first time in years. When they finally left, he handed Sophie a generous tip, but she shook her head. Please, she said, I didn't do it for money. He smiled faintly. I believe you. 2 days later, the diner owner came rushing in with a newspaper. Sophie, he shouted. You're not gonna believe this. On the front page was a headline. Billionaire Richard Hale praises local waitress for kindness to disabled daughter. Sophie's mouth fell open. She read the article. The man from the diner was one of the richest businessmen in the city, owner of multiple corporations. He had shared their story publicly, saying, "A waitress reminded me that kindness is worth more than all the money I have." By that evening, people were lining up outside the diner. Some came to meet Sophie, others just to feel that kindness she had shown. The diner's business boomed overnight. But that wasn't the end. A week later, a sleek black car pulled up outside. The door opened, and Lily came out, smiling, holding flowers. Behind her was her father. He approached Sophie, who was wiping tables as usual. "Sophie," he said warmly, "I've been looking for you." She laughed nervously. "Did I forget to charge for the pancakes?" He smiled. "Quite the opposite. I came to offer you a job." "A job?" she asked, stunned. "Yes," he said. "Lily's Foundation for Children with Disabilities. I'm creating one in her name. We need someone who truly cares. Someone like you." Tears filled Sophie's eyes. "I don't have a fancy degree or experience in charities." He shook his head. "You have something better, Hart." Months later, Sophie stood on a stage, watching Lily, now walking slowly with braces, hand out scholarships to other disabled kids. The crowd clapped, cameras flashed, and Sophie smiled through tears. She remembered the night it all started, just one plate of pancakes, one act of kindness. After the ceremony, Lily ran up to her and hugged her tightly. "You're my favorite person in the world," she said. Sophie knelt down and whispered, "No, sweetheart, you changed my world." And as Richard Hale stood behind them, tears in his eyes, he knew that the waitress who once fed his daughter had given him something no amount of money ever could, a reason to believe in goodness again.